So last time we talked about Earth Defense Force 2017 for Xbox 360, a game of many flaws overshadowed by incredibly fun gameplay. And this time we're here to talk about the sequel, Insect Armageddon, for Xbox 360 and PS3. But I'm gonna need a little help. Hey Eric. Yeah. Hey, is it cool to put you on speakerphone? Alright.
Hey Eric, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, do you want to talk about some Earth Defense Force?
Oh, yeah, you talking about the milquetoast shmup for the Super Nintendo?
No, I'm talking about the game for Xbox.
Oh, yeah, 2017.
No, actually, Insect Armageddon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, man, we're both really big fans of Earth Defense Force 2017, but I think you are the Insect Armageddon expert. I think I've only played that game for like 6-7 hours just for this review.
Yeah, at this point I might have actually done as many for 2017, which is like about 100 hours. And I guess I don't know if there's like a counter on Insect Armageddon, but it's probably up there.
Damn, so yeah, you know about this game way more than I do, but I have logged some hours into it, so I kind of have my theories about how Insect Armageddon stacks up to 2017. And so basically, Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon, not very good?
No, it's good. It's actually good.
All right. There are certain things this game does, like right away you can tell, does a lot better than 2017. But like, I think some of the core important aspects of what made 2017 so great are missing in Insect Armageddon. Like, I don't know, what are your thoughts on comparing those two games?
First of all, 2017 technically isn't very good, but it makes it where it counts, which is gameplay and fun.
I feel like it's a dumb, fun game with a soul that really knows what it is and what it wants to be and doesn't care about the details. And so, like, it's a game with a real strong identity. And I think that's the thing that's sort of lacking about Insect Armageddon. It doesn't have the same kind of personality and soul.
Yeah, and I guess if we're comparing the two games, you could say that relative to 2017, Insect Armageddon isn't very good. I think what they did with Insect Armageddon is they looked at it and they said, okay, look at these flaws in 2017. How can we fix it? And in doing so, they kind of messed it up.
I see these are kind of a yin and yang existence. Like 2017 just got it right that like when you have a big gun and you shoot it, like the bugs blow up and it look real pretty. It's just this crazy, really like over the top, like extreme ridiculous power fantasy.
Yeah.
Whereas Insect Armageddon is like a wacky third-person shooter with bugs.
Yeah.
And I think by that stretch, you know, these are still two games that are like in a class of their own. And if you've never played 2017, you will totally enjoy Insect Armageddon. Like, for what it's worth, it is still a game where you just shoot giant bugs with big old guns. And there aren't a whole lot of games that just do that. And so by that stripe, Insect Armageddon is actually really, really good. Okay. But it just doesn't hold up to 2017.
Yeah. I definitely had more fun with 2017.
So here's kind of the differences that I spotted. Again, I'm only putting a couple hours into this. On a peripheral level, like on all the outside supporting stuff, Insect Armageddon is the better game. Like, it has character classes, which is really cool. And then it has character progressions for each of those classes. And then it has weapon classes within each of those character classes. So instead of having just, here's a billion guns, it's like, no, here's a whole bunch of guns, but only this guy can use it when he's at this level. And so that makes the weapons a little more interesting. There's achievements and stats now. The achievements, I think that's almost unfair to level that against 2017. Achievements for Xbox games back in the early days, they are not what they became. And it used to be like achievements were like, here's 10, 12 things, and they were all super hard to get. The achievements are a lot better on Insect Armageddon. Also, they have like way more stats. And I just really, really like stats, having those numbers. I really, really did like the active reload. I thought that was kind of cool. It is a shameless thing just taken from Gears of War. Yeah. I don't know if you can speak to this. I thought the active reload on the game was like really unreliable. Like I've played a lot of Gears of War, so I'm pretty sure I know how to nail that. And I just I felt like I was nailing those active reloads, and like half the time I was just straight up missing them.
Yeah, no, I definitely did exactly the same. I mean, it depends on the weapon. You know, certain weapons have a bigger, like, I guess, hit bar, you could say, versus other ones that are like a hairline thin. And I do feel like a lot of times, like, man, I hit that, but then I just kind of run around until my gun reloads.
Even though it didn't always work, I thought having that inclusion was actually kind of nice. There's a whole lot of more variation in there's like survival mode and campaign remix, and you can play each level with bots or no bots, and there's the 3 difficulties instead of just like 5. The levels kind of feel more structured. Like the campaign progression feels a little more. I kind of like the way it's not just 50 levels in a row. There's different like episodes. There's less emphasis on item collection. And getting the loot. A lot of the stuff you buy new weapons. The vehicles are a hell of a lot better. The loading is a heck of a lot better. There is an attempt of a narrative arc, and some of the loading screens are accompanied by voiceover, so the long load times are a little less painless. Yeah. I play the game mostly with the jet guy, and flying up and just raining down hellfire from the sky, never not satisfying. But what I think where the comparison to EDF or to Insect Armageddon versus 2017 where that loses is when it comes to shooting the bugs with your big weapons, it's just not as satisfying. Yeah. The big scale just isn't there. The robots that you fight are kind of small, and the ships that you shoot down are kind of small, and just there's never a ton of bugs on screen. Like, just shooting stuff just ain't as satisfying in Insect Armageddon.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to agree. I just plugged it back in the other day, and I was playing 2017. There's one level, I think it's like level 30 or something like that, and it's called March. And there's just like, you look on the horizon, it's like sunset, and there's just, the whole skyline is just nothing but spiders. And you, like you said, you never get like that scope and scale and that kind of thing in this game. It's a lot fewer insects on screen at the time.
Yeah, and I think the game runs a little smoother. Again, like I think technically the game looks and runs better, but that's because there's way less dudes on screen, right. And that's what is important. And like little things I've noticed, like I think these were like quote unquote fixes that the Insect Armageddon team tried to do. When you shoot a bug, they just kind of like disintegrate.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And yeah, I think what that was to fix is in 2017, sometimes you shoot a bug and they just fall upside down, and their body just sits there motionless.
Which is hilarious.
But when they disappear like that, when they disintegrate, what that takes away is that feeling of shooting a rocket in the middle of a crowd and just watching them explode and fly up into the air. Yeah. Like that very visceral image is like missing in Insect Armageddon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does kind of fix problems, because I can't count the number of times in 2017 where I blew myself up on an insect's corpse because it just happened to fly in front of my gun, and I shot a missile and it blew me up. You don't really have that problem as much in Insect Armageddon unless there's something alive in front of you. But like you said, yeah, it's super not satisfying to disintegrate bugs. You want to like blow them all over the place. And 2017 was really good about that. Like, you would blow them up and they would fly, depending on your weapon strength. Like, I had this one this one missile called like Genocide something, and it just blasted them literally like through the sky. Like, it disappeared. It went so far. And you don't ever get that.
And that's the gun you get when you complete the game 100%, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn, folks, I had to call the expert. I got him here on the line. Dude's put hundreds of hours into these games. He knows what he's talking about.
Oh, not enough.
But I just really wanted to get kind of confirmation. Like, I wanted to play this game more. I just didn't have the time. But I could just kind of tell almost immediately, like, Armageddon just didn't quite have the spirit, didn't really get what that core fun thing about 2017. But I did still enjoy playing it, because I do really like the kind of RPG, Call of Duty style of gotta get experience, gotta get new guns, gotta level up my guy, and I want to make this class and get that class up higher. That was really fun. Like I was kind of bored with the game, but I was still playing it because I was like, oh, I want to get the next tier for my jet guy so I can get a better rocket launcher because I want to blow up dudes, you know.
It's worth noting, of course, that 2017 was Japanese made and Insect Armageddon was Western made, and when you play the game, you can totally see it. You hit the nail on the head talking about Gears of War.
You can see where they were coming from. It was an admirable attempt, and they set out to like, oh, we can make a game better than 2017, and I think that's what a lot of people that played 2017 were like, oh my god, this is almost a perfect game, but there's so many huge problems here. I guess they thought that like making bugs being shot real big will be easy to do, and evidently that sense of ridiculousness and that sense of like big, just giant, powerful fantasy bullshit is more difficult to pull off.
Yeah, and I mean, you could tell that they love the game, and they had the right spirit when they started it. Some of the stuff, I feel like the people that made Insect Armageddon thought that they got it. They thought that they got 2017, but they didn't necessarily get it. Some of the stuff where they just like, it kind of shows up in the campiness of it. When you look at Insect Armageddon, they just like, oh, how campy it was in 2017. I'm not sure how much of that was really necessarily intentional. Like you said, like kind of in the reading of some of the voiceovers and that kind of stuff.
Hold your fire! We're gonna try to get closer to the enemy!
It's too dangerous to stay in this area! This mission's a total disaster! Ah!
Like the taste of my bullets?
I'll pump you full of lead!
Come on! If you don't want to die, keep shooting!
If you don't want to die, then shoot the bastards! Man, I'm starving! Yo, these bugs smell really bad. I swear I had a video game like this one! I'm live blogging this whole thing! My hits are gonna be through the roof!
So they just took that and turned it up to 11, and it kind of just was a little off-putting.
Now, I was super late to the Insect Armageddon party. Did you get on some of the multiplayer stuff? Because that's huge.
Yeah, I only played it recently. I played mostly the single-player campaign, and I'd have a friend come over and that kind of stuff. But online, I only played recently a little bit, and it was with someone I knew anyway, so I didn't really get to experience that very much.
That's a shame.
Yeah, because it's always. I bet you there's not much of a community for it anymore.
No, and I bet that was super fun. Oh, but then again, you played EDF 2017 for the Vita. Yeah. And that had online, right?
Which I haven't done yet, but yes.
Oh, but it's there, though.
It exists, yes. I got to get on that before the community disappears. I really do have to jump on that.
Well, wait a minute, then. How just, I guess, real quick we can do, because, again, folks, I got the expert. I got the expert here. Real quick, can you say anything about the Vita port?
It's the same. I mean, it's basically...
Good. Done. Sold.
Pretty much, right? I mean, there's some improvements. Well, I guess they're just as far as there's a couple extra levels. I think a handful. There's like 5 extra levels or something like that. And
I don't know if the game needed more levels. That sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like a total of 60 levels. I think the first one was 50. I'm not quite sure, but in any case, you get to play as, I think it's Pale Wing is the name of the character, which is the jet basically that was in the PS2 version.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another huge thing for Armageddon. Is the class system so smart, so smart.
I think the portable 2017 is like the same fun that you had before, but being able to fly over it all, it's better than the jet class in Insect Armageddon in that way. Like the way it flies around, it's just so much smoother and it's really cool. I really enjoy it. I'm playing it through for the second time now with the Pale Wing character, and it's totally different.
Is the slowdown any better, or is it probably about the same? It's
probably about the same, I'd have to say. I can't, there's no points that really stand out that much. I mean, I've had a bunch of bugs around, and it still runs pretty well, but, the slowdown in 2017 was, of course, worse than Insect Armageddon, so... Yeah. I think it's about the same on the Vita.
I mean, hold on. We can talk about the slowdown because we also talked about just the scale and the number of enemies on screen. Like, technically, Insect Armageddon, I think, has, like, virtually no slowdown or very, very little of it that I ever noticed. But that's because there's so little on screen. There's very few dudes that you have to contend with. And I think that was kind of... Again, to the soul, to the spirit of 2017, that personality that game really had, is that it knew that it had slowdown, but it didn't care. It was like, I'm going to throw, hundreds and hundreds of enemies at you. I don't care if it slows down my engine. You have to deal with these hundreds of enemies. Yeah. I think to really commit to that, like, that must have been a very cognizant decision. Like, sir, we can only do X number of guys before it starts slowing down. I was like, I don't care. You double that number, even if it slows down.
That's a feature. That's bullet time.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's Matrix mode. I beat the game on easy, or the normal mode, right? And when I beat it, I got, like, the bad ending.
Yeah.
And then just kind of ended there, just sat there.
Yep.
And just like, here's your experience.
Are you gonna beat it?
What you did. And then just like, yeah, go back and do it again. I got to go back and put it into hard mode.
Are you gonna put it in hard mode?
I tried to go through on hard mode, and I got a couple of levels in, and it is considerably harder, much harder.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it gets to the point where it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you know, we kind of talked about a little bit in 2017. It's like a loot kind of system, and in this one, it's kind of like experience. You know, it really comes down to grinding in either one, honestly. I mean, you know, you just have to play the same levels over and over in 2017 so that you pick up the right loot. In Insect Armageddon, you have to play same levels over and over because you just can't get over that peak sometimes. So
yeah, I wasn't quite sure how. Again, this is something I want to talk to you about because you played more. I played the Jet a whole bunch, and I beat the whole first campaign on normal mode with the Jet, and I really didn't want to change to any other guy because the game was getting more and more difficult. I liked that class. I just wanted to keep leveling up that class. And I kind of reached a point where in order for me to level up my next level, it's going to take so much experience.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to a level, and I just barely beat it. And it was like, I definitely need to go back and grind and level up my dude.
Yeah.
But to get more experience is going to take so much time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do that unless I just kind of decide to play through the whole first campaign on easy mode again.
Yep.
And it doesn't really incentivize, like, I'm not going to switch to a new guy with like crap weapons and crap stats. There's 15 levels this time and only 3 difficulty levels as opposed to like 50 something levels and 5 difficulty levels.
Yeah.
But you multiply that by the 3 different classes that you have to play through, and it's about the same amount of game you have to constantly go through and play and play over and over again to grind.
You get to a point where you're like, man, you know, it's kind of hard. Like, I'd like to try another class. You got to start from scratch. So in that way, it's exactly like 2017. You know, you've got to go through it on easy, and then you got to go through it on, you know, all the way up to Inferno. And it's exactly the same. But I think you might even end up putting in more hours into this one just because of how it's a bit unbalanced, you know, as far as like the leveling system goes. Because I remember getting bored of playing certain levels over and over just so I could get over that peak and get to, you know, my character to level 5 or 6 or whatever it was going to take to get to the next level.
But it's a tragedy because it's just not quite as interesting or as fun as 2017. So if I have to slog through and really grind and get my levels up or get my loot up, it's going to be more fun in 2017.
Yep. You do. Spoilers, you do. You have to grind like crazy.
One of the things that really bugged me about 2017.
Nice choice of words.
I didn't even mean to do that. I can't. Shit. All right. I'm leaving that in. One of the things that annoyed me with 2017 was when I played the game on normal and I went through no problem, but then I had to beat the game again on easy. It didn't do that thing where like you beat a level on a certain difficulty level, then you get everything beneath it. You don't get that with 2017, so it's kind of like, why would I bother going through the whole game on easy? Because it's a very easy game on easy. You can start the game on normal and run your way through, but if you're kind of a completionist like I am, you want to go through again on the easy mode. But the incentivizing there is you can collect, there's no new weapons to get, because of course all the better weapons would be on levels above you. You can get all your armor class. You can get your HP up. So with 2017, you're still only ever building just that one character. So you might have to play levels multiple times, but it is only ever going just to one character. Yeah, you kind of make the point that the class system in Armageddon, kind of cool on paper, a little poorly implemented.
Yeah.
I like that both these games, though, have a very loose definition of the word alien. You know, because basically they're just like ants and spiders, but like, whoa, they're real big and they shoot acid. There must be aliens. Like, and also, who's flying these ships? They're like ants and bugs, but like, who's like? I just imagine like a spider with like a helmet and goggles and like a whole bunch of levers all around it.
Oh man, you got to get someone to do some art for you for that. I need that image. Man, you know what would make this even better in 2017 if they were like, yeah, making their own little sound effects with their mouths. All right.
And they go, oh, yeah, oh, I got the bug. You bug. Oh, you got me.
I would be into that. Downloadable content 2025.
Oh, man.
Mouth noises. What's funny about 2017 is it just does whatever it wants. I know we're not talking about it, but I have to say it. The mech dinosaur, where did that come from?
Oh, man, we could talk about something between 2017 and Insect Armageddon. I think I've mentioned this briefly, but I want to really drive this home. The robots.
Yeah.
The robots in Insect Armageddon are just tiny and they're lame.
Yeah.
I was so bummed when I saw these full pissant robots. The Daddy Longleg was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the robots in Armageddon, so disappointing, so lame.
There's that giant robot.
Yeah, but I mean, it's too little, too late. It wasn't enough. I guess when it comes to me, I have high standards for my robots.
That makes sense actually. Yeah. You know, in 2017, you know, the one thing that they did, which was just, I mean, it was kind of corny, but it was awesome. They would just take like the same character model for an ant or a spider and just blow it up insanely huge. I really would have liked to see something like that with Insect Armageddon, but you know, they did have a bunch of different insects that we didn't see before. I mean, like, you know, they added wasps and like those big tick shooting giant tarantulas.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the enemies were really cool in that game.
Yeah, I think we can kind of agree that I feel like overall we're kind of going back and forth here.
Yeah.
And if I can try and put a bow on this, like Insect Armageddon is not terrible.
No.
It is really just kind of middling. It has some good things, it has some bad things, and it just really comes together in the middle. Whereas like EDF 2017 has some bad things and then some amazing things that just kind of push it over, like far outshadow its faults.
All right, man. 2017 versus Insect Armageddon. What do you think?
Ah, man, I think we nailed it. I think that's all we could say about that.
Oh yeah, and then all that's left is 2025, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that'll be for another time. Thanks, man. Thank you, folks. See you soon.